You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Ashley-Ann Clement, president and founder of Palmer's Law, PA, focusing on business litigation, tax, and first-party property, located in South Florida. How are you, Ashley-Ann?
Hi, Benny. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Great to see you. I know we connected at Crisp in Atlanta, which was great. You and a couple other friends that we've featured on Lawyer Stories. And when I met you, I was like, I got to get Ashley on the podcast. She's a perfect candidate. You have like an incredible, inspiring story. So we want to share it with as many people as we can.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to share it.
For sure. So let's just start off being like born and raised. So you were born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica?
Yes. Born and raised, prep school, high school, college, all the way up.
That's amazing. And I just want to point something out. I went to Montego Bay like years ago, and I was going through some stuff the other day, and I'm wearing this in honor of you tonight.
I appreciate it.
It's my Jamaica love. Wristband that I bought while I was there 7 years ago. So
love it.
I like to be spirited when I can. What can I say?
I feel in the island vibe.
All right, that's all for you. So tell us about like growing up there.
Growing up in Jamaica, I guess it's very different. Fun fact, a lot of people don't know, I had like a semester in middle school in New York growing up.
Okay.
I think middle school, I'm not really familiar with the school system before law school in the United States, but it was very different. I went there for a few months. I did not feel normal, so I ended up coming back to Jamaica. Growing up here, it's very close-knit. Everyone knows everyone, especially or specifically in Kingston.
And by the way, Ashley-Ann's saying growing up here because you're currently in Jamaica as of this recording. Were you in New York City or no when you went to New York?
I was in New York City.
Okay. And it just, everybody's close-knit where you were and you just didn't like really feel it back then. So you went back.
Went back to Jamaica. Again, you know, all the parents knows each other.
Yep.
Here. All the teachers know all the students on a personal level. It's a different experience. It's kind of funny. It's close-knit on the child side, growing up side, but then after graduating college, it's not that close-knit. Like it's a different. You have to be in the inn to get business opportunities. And that's kind of, I'm probably jumping the gun, but that's kind of what led me into deciding to spread my wings and try other opportunities that brought me to the United States.
So you say be in the inn, like you have to know certain people to get those opportunities for a job. And because it looks like, I mean, it seems like you made it through middle school, high school. You went to undergrad there too in Kingston, right? That was University of West Indies, is that correct? Mm-hmm. So that's pretty intense that you were there. And then what made you say, okay, like I'm going to Miami, like I'm gonna take the LSAT and I'm gonna go to law school?
Well, when I went to my undergrad, I had my degree, a double major in psychology and sociology in my undergrad. And though I loved it because I love reading and it was very interesting, I realized it was not my passion. Right. And I started working briefly in Jamaica after graduating. It was not in psychology, not in sociology. It was not in law, and I felt unfulfilled. So my family lives they were living in Boynton Beach at the time.
Nice. So that's why parents are.
Oh, really?
They're snowbirds. That's where I go to stay when I'm going down there.
Yes, nice, nice.
All right.
Um, my parents are of Lake Worth, so
Nice. Very cool. We'll see you there in
yeah,
a couple months. All right.
see there. So I moved there, and then the idea, to just go for it, go for the law school thing, apply, do the LSAT. Once I moved to the US, well,
Did you say
to
your parents were there already?
yes, I have family in Boynton, and I have family in DC.
When did they go to Florida? Like, how old were you?
I was in high school.
Okay, so you stayed there to continue high school. You went to undergrad. Okay. And then you were like, okay. Then you went to
Uh,
Miami.
Benny, this can go way deeper. My life is very windy. It's very
Okay, I don't mean to confuse things, and I will just say up front whatever you want to share with anybody who's listening, that's
okay.
fine. But if not, you don't have to. So we could just we can move on and say, okay, so you decided to be I'm really interested in like the moment. If you had a moment that knew you wanted to become an attorney.
Okay. Again, I'm an open book, really. My mom died when I was 6.
Okay.
I had me, my brother, my sister, and my dad here. My dad moved to DC, or no, to New York when we were much younger. So my mother's sister adopted me, and I grew up with her. She moved to the United States, which is Florida, when I was in high school. And then I decided after college, I worked throughout college. I basically supported myself in
Yeah.
college. Um, and then after college, I realized, I wasn't in that group that I needed to be in Jamaica to get to where I
Okay.
wanted to be.
Okay.
And so I decided to seize another opportunity, which is moving to Florida. I did the LSAT there. I decided I can be an attorney. When I was considering going to law school, I was told, by family members and non-family members, hey, I know that you're Jamaican, so you probably don't understand the dynamics of the United States, but hey, you're a Black girl, you're a Black woman in the United States. If you're not going to an Ivy League law school, it doesn't even make sense, because you're not going to make it. You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to get.
That's anybody. Like that's what you would tell any like. Well, I mean, I just feel like I mean, I'm not. This isn't controversial. I just think like people say that. Like if you don't go to an Ivy League school, you're not gonna do any. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's just something that's said a lot. Obviously, it's different with your situation.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Everybody hears that, but then there's another layer to be like,
Totally,
if you are a woman or a person of color, even more a woman of color, you have to be the best at whatever it is that
totally, totally. And I apologize for jumping the gun on that. So
no,
totally,
no, no,
I get it.
you're fine. But that's what I was told. So essentially I was told, don't do it, because you're not gonna be in an Ivy League law school,
Right.
and you're not gonna go anywhere. It's a waste of time. People seldom make it as an attorney. So that wasn't the first or the last time that I was
Yeah.
told that I shouldn't do something or I can't do something. It has never deterred me. It's actually been a motivation of mine. So,
What was it about the law?
um, I like hard and fast rules.
Okay. Okay.
Um, my, I'm not gonna use my power, and my flaw is a lot of the times, I like hard and fast rules, black and white, right or wrong. And I know, as an attorney, I'm going to law school, I learned that it's not always like that. Um, but if there is a rule, a statute, something that tells me this is what it is and this is how it's interpreted, I like that. I hate the unknown. I hate the gray areas. I hate nobody has the answer. So, you know, so I've always been able to find that answer. And I've always loved being an advocate on behalf of persons other than myself. I mean, I've never been shy. Growing up in high school, every semester I had too talkative on my report card. Like it never leaves me. Like everyone in my family knows that. So I can 1000% defend myself.
Yeah.
But the opportunity and the ability to do that on behalf of someone else that can't do it for themselves,
Yep.
it is a whole different ball game. I know, you know, people generally, of course, everyone, money is great, it's perfect, but happiness, I believe, comes from so many different things in life,
Yep.
and money isn't necessarily at the top of that list. So happiness is being able to use your superpower and help someone else and
Yep.
make them happy. You know what I mean? Touching other people is happiness to me, and I've been blessed to be able to do that.
That's amazing. I love that definition of happiness. And I think so many people have I can't really say what's right or wrong. I mean, everybody has their own interpretation of what's happiness, but I think yours is spot on and really, really significant for people to hear out there. Like what should constitute happiness. It might make people relieved a little bit to hear it. It's okay to, that definition of making other people happy. So that's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that with us. So you went to St. Thomas in Miami. What was and this was like the first educational piece like you got in the States. So
Yes.
because prior you did everything in Jamaica. So like was what was that experience like? It had to be crazy. Like what was your first impression of being in a law school?
It was a culture shock. It was a culture shock on so many levels. The two primary levels were one, and I assume everybody that goes to law school has similar experience. It's like going through life. I don't think I'm the smartest person in the room when I'm in the room, but going through college, it wasn't hard. It was cool. It was a coast. I coasted through college. I got good grades. It
Yep.
wasn't well. But in law school, everybody found college as a coast. So everybody is the smartest person in the room. So
Right, right,
it's
right.
not the same thing. Um, Everyone is smart there. So it's a whole different level of, applying yourself. That what I found easy in college required a little bit more in law
Oh
school because
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
everybody is paying on the same. So that was a shock for me.
Right.
Um, the next thing was I found, and this may be a law school thing, this may be a school in the United States thing. It was very not goal oriented, but not self driven either. It's every man for themselves, it seemed.
Right.
And that's not what I'm used to.
Not very collaborative. People sort of like ripping pages out of those treatises in the library and
Yeah,
hiding books on
exactly.
people.
Yeah, like someone will say, hey, here is uh, uh, uh an outline, while on the other hand, someone would say, oh no, I can't share this with you. This is mine.
Right, right.
I can't answer that question because then you will know the answer, and then we will both know the answer when I need to know the answer. You
It's
know what I
crazy,
mean?
isn't it?
It's Hunger Games.
Hunger
It
Games.
was it was
So which
I
side were you on? Were you willing to share the answers and
of course always. I will always share the answers. But what I will say, one of the best things that I experienced at St. Thomas, and a big part of it, I would like to thank myself.
Yeah.
Like Dog will say, I took that opportunity to get out there. I seized every opportunity to be in the community because again, I'm not from here.
Well, let me just actually introduce you as St. Thomas alumni, former Law Review person, Law Review member,
Mm-hmm.
former was it moot or was it trial or moot court? Sorry, I totally
I'll see you.
messed that up. Trial team, but I mean Law Review. That's intense. That's like the top of the top. So, what was that like?
Woo, so law review, it was intense indeed, but I feel like my experience was a little bit more intense. Why? we had law review first sign on during or first sign or paper or first draft was due during was it Ivan? No, Hurricane Irma. So there was a hurricane. We had deadlines. We had no electricity, but we had deadlines.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
literally had to leave my house, go to, I don't know, Longhorn or something, one of those restaurants because
Nice. That'd
I
be
had
pretty good
electricity.
steak there. You could crush a steak while you're. No wonder you
Yeah,
did so well.
I had to.
There you
Because
go.
I had deadlines. So I had to drive over there. I wrote my entire paper there to send it in to meet my deadline.
Right, and this was to for the editing or to get on the law review.
No, this was because when you're in law review, you have to write a paper.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that. Okay, so keep going.
Oh, right. Sorry. You have to write a paper. That's hopefully gets published on law review.
Right.
So I was writing that at that time, but it's very with law review, it teaches you very, very strict deadlines.
Okay.
So that was interesting. I learned so much. Um,
It's a lot of citations too, like looking up citations and the
many
minute
practical.
stuff and being very detail
But
oriented. See,
then
I know about. Look, I wasn't on law review. I know about the law review a little bit, right? Okay.
it changed me though because I can look at a document and right away, this is missing, this is missing, this is missing, change that. It just jumps at me. And that's because
Yeah,
of law review.
that's awesome.
Obviously,
That
I've always loved, literature, writing, reading, all that. I mean, I booked 2 classes in law school and they were both legal writing. And that's because I love writing.
that's good. I think when people do or students do the things that are really hands on and like that are gonna help you and not just try to like skate through law school, that's just so
Right.
important. And a lot of people do have that mentality to really go after what's going to give you practical skills. I argue that like it should be a little more like medical school, like they should force you to do more practical things, but
I
it's
agree.
really up to you to figure it out in law school. You got to be the problem
1,000%.
solver. You got to go into it and really want to win. So tell us, what advice would you give to a law student who just enters law school and is like trying to figure out the right way to go?
Ugh, the advice that I'll give a law student. All right. The advice I would give is this. I would not change anything that I did in law school. Especially if you're from the Caribbean or you're an immigrant and you're just getting into this community, I interned every semester in so many different things. I was everywhere. In-house counsel at Broward College, ambassador for the ACC. I was in the courthouse. I interned for a criminal and a civil judge at the
Yeah,
same time.
amazing.
I interned in a boutique law firm. I was in the Inns of Court, all of them, all 3 of them. I went to all of the events. I did trial team. I was on the board of trial team. I did law review. I was in the tax clinic.
Yeah. You were
I
all in. You were
I
all
was
in.
all
You
in.
were all in.
And because of that, I learned so many things and I was able to open my eyes and decide what does Ashley like? What does
Right.
Ashley love? What makes Ashley happy? And that's what my advice is to law students.
Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Do
really cool. You know what?
a little bit of everything.
You know what stands out to me too, because and I only mention this because you went with Tremaine to the CRISP summit, right? So she actually had a cool answer too. It was like, can I share with you what I believe it was? This was a long time. I mean, I've done over 100 podcasts, but she said protect your seat. Like you have to protect that seat in your class. You know what I mean? Like you have to. That's your seat. So do anything you can to own it. I might be like getting it wrong a little bit, but it was something along those lines of like protecting a seat, and that's like really I think that's really interesting. And what you're saying about owning and just doing everything you can, like there's no tomorrow. I mean, you literally took advantage of everything that you could take advantage of. And do you find that taking advantage of everything you could in law school prepared you to be a lawyer?
I 1,000% think it did.
Okay,
I can tell
good.
you, law review prepared me for owning my law firm and being an attorney.
Yep.
Trial team 1000% trained me to become a trial attorney. Litigation 1000%. I took all the pre-trial courses, all of the hands-on courses. I took it. I took all of them because
That's
I
awesome.
wanted to be prepared for whatever I needed to be
So
when
smart.
I graduated law school.
So smart.
Practice, all of them.
And let me just add, like, you didn't, I mean, that's so smart what you did. Like, I won't throw in my personal experience, but I can just tell you that that is the exact way that I think anybody should approach law school. And so moving on from law school, like, you didn't only approach and attack law school in a really smart way that prepared you to launch your own law firm, which we're going to get to in a second, but you went on, you got like an LLM from Northwestern, like freaking Northwestern. You know what I mean? Like, how proud are you about that?
I am, I'll say I'm really blessed.
And like, let's not even, okay, not even like Northwestern, but it was in like tax, right? Like tax. Like, I took intro to tax, Glenshaw Glass. Do you remember that case?
Yeah.
And like, that's like, I mean, like, what is income? Like, that's the only thing I remember.
That's the only thing you
Tax,
remember.
the only thing. And you like do tax law now. Like, my point is that anybody who can do that and even get an like an LL.M and like such a school like Northwest, I mean, super impressive. So tell us about that. You went out to Chicago?
I did. Again, another culture shock. That was my first time going to Chicago at all. And I just jumped in, you know. Um, Northwestern it was a whole new world. The amount of information and resources at your fingertips, it was unmatched. It was a different experience from growing up in Jamaica, the education system. It was a different experience from um St. Thomas in
Wow.
Miami. Um Again, it was everyone was laser focused.
Yeah.
There is a goal at the end of the road, and you need to do what you need to do to get there. And all the professors, all the staff, everyone there will do literally anything that they needed to do to get you there. And
You mean the staff or the students?
no, the staff,
Okay.
not the students. Again, it resonates with me throughout each educational aspect of my life. It's up to you.
Yeah.
If I can tell anybody, no matter what age, what college, law school, masters, whatever it is, it's up to you. You
Yeah.
will get what you ask for. So my philosophy in life right now is basically you can get whatever you want. You just have to ask for it.
Yeah.
Just have to ask, because a lot of the time we don't ask. We
You don't
assume
get it.
that
Actually, one of my fraternity brothers once told me that. Like, if you don't ask for anything, you don't get it, right?
you don't.
You got to ask. So that must have been like a crazy experience. So you went like St. Thomas to Northwestern. I mean, you must have. Why tax though? Why tax?
Good question. Why tax? It kind of comes full circle. And remember my explanation about what happiness is and the ability to help someone that's unable to help themselves. That drive brought me to trial team, to trial advocacy. And then I had my Fed income tax class, federal income tax. First time I heard about Glenshaw class. But that led me to intern in the income tax clinic at my school. And we had hands-on experience representing low income taxpayers.
Okay.
And the situation that they were faced with, it really moved me to pursue a tax degree. We have a lot of trial attorneys,
Yeah.
a whole lot of trial attorneys in the
Right.
United States. We don't have a lot of civil tax or tax trial attorneys, basically.
Yeah.
So my drive and my love is civil tax controversy. It's similar to trial advocacy, but I'm advocating to the IRS and to the court on behalf of taxpayers.
Nice.
So
Wow.
I
That's
kind
great.
of got the best of both worlds. I got my litigation and I got my tax, and I just put them all together and just magic.
That's amazing. So yeah, that's incredible. So and because you need like some sort of math, right, to do like all that stuff, and like it's got to be so difficult. I mean, I like Glenshot Glass. It was all the rest is just a blur for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that
I mean, it's not as much as you think. I mean, I'm not doing, mergers and acquisitions or that there's a lot more there, and
yeah,
it gets complicated. It's all complicated, but it's not as much as people. I'm not doing accounting right now.
yeah.
I'm not a CPA. So, it varies.
So Ashley, let me ask you this. So when you were done with Northwestern, what did you do? Like, what was your first job out of school?
Oh, interesting. When I was finished with Northwestern,
Yeah.
I I moved back to Florida. When I graduated, COVID had just hit. Well,
Okay.
not just, but it really, when we went into lockdown. So we had our final semester in virtual, which is very unusual for Northwestern. Trust me, my professors had to adapt. But we're all in lockdown.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I graduated, it was great. I had this perfect degree, I had all this experience, I was pumped up. Went out to a million interviews, never got the job.
Yep. Yep. So, and you went to Northwestern right after law school. I'm just trying to
Right,
connect. Okay.
right, right
So
after
then what
law.
happened? So did you get a job or did you launch your firm?
I then we, we had to do what we had to do. I was with my fiance at the time who launched his company. He's a public adjuster. So we did it together. I was the operations and it was his company. So we started a company on the dining table of our living room.
Nice. Okay.
And we grew that company. We put everything into that company for an entire year. I put my all into that company. And then I was able to branch off and start my own company. So my husband had his public adjusting firm, and then I started the law firm. And today we are approaching 2 years and we're pretty successful. I mean, I would not have it any other way.
Had you, congratulations. Had you already passed the bar before you went to LL.M? How does that work?
Yes, I took the bar exam and then I went to the LLM and I got the results in my first
Okay.
semester that I passed.
So what advice would you give to somebody who says, I want to launch a law firm?
The advice I would give is, be mindful of your network.
Okay.
Have to be able to seize opportunities and maintain clients. Getting clients and seizing opportunities, those are key things. So one of the reasons why I have been this successful, I believe, is maintaining relationships. Those are very important.
Right.
I have not, I started marketing my law firm probably 3 months ago, and I have over 100 cases in litigation.
Wow. Oh my
All
goodness.
through word of mouth, you know, client interactions, friends, family. Make use of your network. That's one of the biggest things. And two, whatever you can't do for yourself, you need to find a way to get it done in a creative way.
Sure. Yeah.
When I say that, um, if there are any areas in my law firm that I wasn't able to do for myself, I reached out to an office manager. I reached out to mentors. I reached out to, whatever I needed to support me, I was able to do that.
That's amazing. So I just have a quick question about this. What's first party property?
Sure. First party property is basically property insurance,
Okay.
litigation management.
Okay.
So for my clients, if they have any form of property damage, that's fire loss, water damage, molds,
Gotcha.
someone drives in the side of your house, and I've had a few clients that has had that. We trust me, yeah, they're pretty crazy things that happen. We manage these claims, so we can file the claims from the initiation, or if the claim is denied or underpaid, we will go ahead and litigate it against the insurance company on behalf of our clients.
Wow. Okay. So what would you say the most important thing about your law firm is, Ashley?
The most important thing about my law firm is client satisfaction.
Okay, good. Very
That's one of
good.
that's the most important thing. Everything that I do, everything that we do and our team do in our firm is geared at client satisfaction, right? So I know that at Chris we heard about, you know, the different resources that we need in order to never miss a call, you know, have
Right.
our clients feel like they're heard, you know, returning emails, following up and so forth. My team is geared towards that. And that is why we get we get so many referrals from our clients.
Yeah.
Even
That's
if
great.
it is, so I don't give my clients unrealistic expectations. I do my best to get them beyond their expectations. If I'm unable to do that, I'm still always honest with all my clients. And based on that, regardless of the outcome, my clients always feel like, you know, I'm going to refer you to Attorney Ash because she'll always keep it 100% with you and she'll
Yeah.
do her best and you'll get
Yeah.
the best service.
I would refer people to you today if I had you.
Thanks, Penny.
No, that's awesome, Ash. So there's a quote on your website. I love your website, by the way.
It's been revamped right now, actually. So
What's
check me at
that?
the end of January.
It's say that again.
We're having a new website launch at the end of January. It's gonna be great. So
So are you telling me like not to ask you the question about your website?
you can ask the question. I know the question that you're gonna ask because
Tell me what it
another
is. What's
one,
the question that I'm going to ask you?
a goal is just a wish without a plan.
Oh,
Is
come
that it?
on. I thought I was better than that. Yes. Why would you? So how did you know? Like, am I that? Like, can you read my mind? Am I that?
Because that's the phrase on the website.
What's that?
That is the phrase on the website.
Wow, I'm really predictable, aren't I?
No, I just know my website. These are all my words.
Okay, fine. Well, it's not your words actually. It's the words of
Well,
Antoine de Saint-Exupéry.
of course. Yes.
Exupéry. Okay, so what is that? Yeah, so that's exactly right. That's why you're very quick, and that's why you're a very successful attorney. So, what does a goal without a plan is just a wish mean to you?
It means that a lot of people have goals. A lot of people have great, brilliant ideas. You know, that's why we have Shark Tank, right?
Yeah,
But
that's true. Yeah.
a lot of people don't understand or are unwilling to make the steps that are necessary to execute
They don't
that.
execute. That's exactly right. They don't execute. Okay.
Right. So having, you know, beautiful big dreams and goals is all fine and dandy, but you need to have a plan of execution. You can't
Yeah.
say, you know, God has my back without actually doing the work. So that is what that is. To me,
Yeah.
I always, if I have a, okay, so I'll say this. My husband and I, before we got married, we have a notepad, a notebook. We would sit down on our apartment on the balcony and we will write great ideas that we have. And there are dates on every idea that we have.
Mm.
There's
So
a
sweet.
date
Yeah.
for there's a date when we decided to start the public adjusting firm. Way before. There's a date with the idea for the law firm way before. That date was written probably a year or so before. But the thing is, and the point with that is, we have a lot of great ideas, but we put a plan together to execute it. We could have started the law firm and the public adjusting firm at the same time, but that was not realistic. It didn't make sense, right? We
Right.
had a plan, you know? So that's the whole point. Just having goals or great ideas is not enough. It's just a wish in the end,
It's just
right?
a
You
wish.
wish
Yeah.
for this and you wish for that. So Antoine put it perfectly. A goal without a plan is just a wish. You have to have a plan of execution in order to get from point A to point B.
Oh,
Otherwise,
that's
you're just looking down the
amazing.
road at point B.
Yeah, no, execution's everything. I tell people that who ask me about like, how have you built like lawyer stories a little bit? Like how have you it's execution. A lot of people, like you say, have ideas, but you have to be consistent. You have to act on them. You can't just an idea is just a wish without. Yeah, it's totally. I love that, Ash. It's a great quote, so I wanted to bring that up.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I sometimes I get so baffled. Like, is it that people have the assumption that you stumbled upon lawyer story, like you had the idea, you just fell and stumbled into, oh, it happened. No, it
Well,
takes, and consistency is a great word that you use. Like one of my mentor,
yeah,
La France, he was our trial team coach. He says this to us all the time. Consistency, consistency. Consistency is what breeds success.
yeah,
This,
totally. You have to be consistent. A lot of people want to do things, and if you don't keep up with it, like through the ups and the downs, and you just got to keep going. You got to keep going.
right.
Especially if you like the journey. You have to love the journey of something. You have to execute on it. I think like that's such great advice, and everything you've told us today would like tell us that that is a true quote. That's sort of in your artillery of is that even a word of things that you do. So where do you see your firm, Ash, in like 5 to 10 years?
Oh, I see the firm growing, of course. The plan, because we have goals, but we also have
Yeah,
plans, is
totally.
for an office in Atlanta, one office in Miami, one office in LA. That's the
In
goal.
LA, wow, okay.
Mhm.
So what kind of a boss are you? Are you like a good boss or what?
I am an open door boss. I
Okay.
am a mixture of hands-on and figure it out. I
Figure
mean,
out, okay.
I am growing. I know I'm not perfect. I am very open and honest with my employees. I let them know I'm not perfect. So if there's an issue that you need to discuss, come and discuss it with me, right? I am the boss that believes that my employees need to be happy to work. To get the
Yes,
production that I want, they have to be happy. So I'm
yes,
the boss that's going to go above and beyond for my employees so that they're happy and they're content so that they're focused on what they need to be doing, which
that's
is why
great.
we're closed for this week. We have been
Yeah,
closed
that's
since
good. I
20.
think everybody should be recharging this week. I mean,
I think so
I
too.
I manage a lot of people in my full-time real in my regular job, and I do think that people need to recharge these last couple weeks. They do. I mean, I let my staff do it, and I try to go to work. I'm not trying to take credit for anything. I try to cover everything while people.
Right.
I think people we kind of see that like the world slows down a little bit now, and so I think that if an employer is able to do that, I think that's tremendous. Um, so are you working on anything like what interesting? Are you working on any interesting cases you want to tell us about? I know you're doing business litigation. You're doing some first party property type of stuff, some tax. Is there any like big cases you have, or like do you want to, what is there anything you want to tell the lawyer service community about cases that you're working on?
I mean, I am working on a pretty significant case now. It's very multifaceted. It is a mixture of property insurance, a mixture of um misappropriation of funds, a mixture of
Oh,
yeah, a mixture of what's it called? Construction defect, a
okay,
mixture of theft, probably. Um, yeah, it's so I do. This is essentially, and attorneys joke about this, but it's your glorified bar question.
yeah.
This is it.
This
It
is
has
it, really. So there's like multiple things. It can go different ways, and wow,
so many different ways. So
yeah,
many different ways.
totally.
It's gonna be a beast. It's a pretty monstrous case. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm geared up, and my team is ready to get on it starting January 3rd when we get back.
that's amazing. Excuse me, Ashley. I just want to tell you that if there's anybody you ever see on Lawyer Stories that I might know, that we might know, and you want to connect with, that's what I love doing. if you saw like the Chris Summit, I love being like, hey, so and so, this is so and so, like you guys need to meet. I'm happy to make a warm introduction to anybody that you ever see on there that you just want to meet. Maybe they've like friend material. Maybe you could be like a referral partner. Maybe
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they're in South Florida. Like I'm happy to do it.
I really appreciate that, Benny. In Georgia, you already started doing that. I've already made several connections
Nice.
with the person that you've introduced me with, a few attorneys and non-attorneys that you've introduced me
That's
to
great.
in Georgia. So I really appreciate that. And I wanted to also extend another thing of gratitude of you inviting, extended the invitation for us to get to Crisp. It was quite an experience. It was an eye-opener. It was the recharge in motivation and inspiration that I needed. And I really appreciated it.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had a great time. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you and
it was great.
Dante and Tremaine. It was really cool. So is there anything else that we missed today that you want to share with the Lawyer Stories community?
That was I feel like we covered from growing up in Jamaica to the law firm now.
Yeah, it's great. I love getting into it. It's great.
One thing I will just say is, especially for the attorneys that are doing their own firms, remember, yes, everyone is motivated. Yes, everyone is hungry, but remember that we are a community. There is enough for everyone.
I like it.
And, helping each other without any added motivation or any backhanded expectations. Put it in the universe. It'll come back.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. Put it out there. Help that law student. Help that person that wants to go to law school. Help that person that wants to start their law firm. Help that person that's in a law firm and just wants advice. It goes a long way.
That's awesome. I think that's awesome advice. Like that's such advice that we could use here in the Lawyer Stories community. So thank you so much, Ashley-Ann Clement. And congratulations on all of your success. Like you're just doing incredible things, and you're such an impressive young person. So I wish you all the best, and stay right there. And everybody, thank you for tuning in to this episode. And wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.